Nets legend Lamarcus Aldridge retired from the NBA on Thursday, and I really just can't wait to see, for one thing, Jalen, to see that number be retired by the Brooklyn Nets, and for that to be hung up in the Raptors for all that he's contributed to that team. Because of course, he's only been on the Nets his entire career, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
and also got to. I mean, just what the Nets are doing. Just before we get into things, what Steve Nash has been able to do. He's been able to take this team, bunch of ragtag players like James Harden, Kevin Durant, I guess
Bunch of
Marcus Aldridge,
nobodies.
bunch of nobodies, and he's made a real contending team. And so hats off to him. Hands down coach of the year, and if not, he might be one of the best coaches of all time. Greg Popovich, watch out, man, because God, I'm sorry, I can't even get through that with a straight face.
Yeah, that was.
Woo. No, but we're going to talk Lamarcus Aldridge retiring and what that's going to do to the Nets. We're going to talk Steph Curry and Jamal Murray. Two big things happening on the same game on Monday. Is Julian Edelman the Hall of Famer? Jalen and I are going to give you our top 10 draft prospects. You might have seen them on the Instagrams and Twitters, but we're going to give you our breakdown here. And, Trevor Lawrence, Kyle Pitts, who would you rather draft? Who's going to have the more guaranteed amount of success in the NFL? And also, we're 2 weeks into the MLB season, so we're going to give you our biggest surprises so far, our early MVP favorites, including Shohei Ohtani, quite possibly. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, our episodic edition of the Fourth and Long Radio Show. Of course, sorry, Jalen, of Fourth and Long LLC. Yeah, limited liability company in Idaho, baby. Oh, bless
We've
up.
gone corporate. Fourth and Long has gone corporate.
Mickey. Oh, but at least we're actually going to pay our taxes and actually, yes, IRS, I will pay all my taxes.
We will pay every bit of our taxes.
This is admissible in court. We're paying everything.
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 Everything we're supposed to pay.
And one way we're able to pay is through SCG subs, because of course go check those guys out because they really help us out. And also what's going on is they have a fantastic line of energy drinks. It's like a little pre-workout powder essentially. And man, does that stuff get you going without the tingles, without the crash, and it keeps you going for a while. I know I was able to do some. I PR'd on my squat that day. Jalen, I know you had some, and you had...
I PR'd on my squat and my bench press that day. I was going
in. That's what I'd like to
some
hear.
Good stuff. That is some good stuff.
That's some great stuff. And also, ThriveFantasy.com for all your sports prop betting needs, especially with the MLB season underway. Super fun way to bet. It was really unique, and it's really cool going through that because I never done any sports betting in general. So to do it this way was actually pretty fun. Let's not get addicted. Of course, please gamble responsibly because we're a responsible show.
Please gamble responsibly.
Or if you're going to gamble irresponsibly, just what you can do instead is the money you're going to spend on betting, just become a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/fourthandlong. You put your money into good use that way. Oh man, that was smooth.
Or just pre-register for Gambling Anonymous, and you'll probably be fine.
Or just donate us.
Just donate the money to us. That'd be nice. We'll probably use it better than you will, anyways.
Maybe, probably. Yeah, we definitely. Maybe I'll actually pay Jalen.
Yeah. We're still waiting for our first paychecks.
I'm still waiting to go green.
Yeah, we're still pretty red.
It's okay, boys, because we're all good. But let's quit the jibber jabber, Jalen, and let's get into things because who needs all this jibber jabber? There's only gibber and jabbering. This is great. Lamarcus Aldridge, of course, he retired, and one of the main things to ask Jalen, how will this affect the Nets the rest of the season? Are they still that NBA Finals winners as we expect them to be?
I think Lamarcus Aldridge was a great signing for them. But at the same time, they were winning without him, and I think they'll continue to win without him now again. Wasn't there for too long, so it's not like it was like an entrenched player who, like, if they lost somebody who'd been on the team for like 5 years, or like a starter who was just like their leading scorer, that's different. But he just got there. He was making his impact, but he wasn't, he wasn't like the star of the team. So I think he's a great player, but I think they'll be just fine without him. I think they're still one of the top teams to go against right now, especially when their main three stars are healthy and their bench is providing. So No offense to him, but I think they'll be perfectly fine without him.
Now, what about him? Maybe not with the Nets, but he's been a phenomenal player his entire career. Extremely consistent and extremely good. Of course, he started off his career with the Blazers, spent most of the time with Portland. And so, there's been some people calling for this already. Is it time to retire number 12?
I think it is. I think he was. Obviously he didn't win any championships, but he was big for that team. And he was big for the market of that team. He was a big for the team
because he's a large man.
He's a very large man.
Woo! I hate myself.
But he was really big for that team. And he kind of helped with that market. Nobody really wanted to go to Portland for a while, and having him there made more people want to sign with that team. Obviously, with Dame Lillard also there.
Imagine if he stayed with Dame Lillard. Oh, imagine if they had that.
He's also one of like the only I don't know if they basketball. They don't call it All Pro, right? Do they call it
All NBA?
All NBA. He was also one of the only All NBA players that Damian Lillard has ever played with. That's crazy to think about. But he's great. He was great over there, and he was a staple in the community and for the team. I think you retire his number. I think to show your thankfulness for what he did for your team to help them get to where the Trailblazers are now, almost always in the conversation for playoffs. Before he was there, they weren't. I mean, they were a decent team before. They would go through rough patches, good patches, stuff like that. But I think he solidified them as every year playoff team. Obviously with the help of Dame Lillard, but I think it's time to retire 12.
And then also, the last question about Lamarcus Aldridge is that he is one of only 25 players in NBA history with over 19,000 career points and over 8,000 career rebounds. He is a 7-time NBA All-Star and a 5-time All-NBA player. Is this good enough to get you into the Hall of Fame?
I think he is. I don't think he'll be like as early as a first ballot NBA Hall of Famer as a couple other guys have been recently, but I think he'll definitely get there. Maybe like second or third. I think he's dominated. I think the last couple of seasons obviously haven't been his most dominant years, but he's still been a very consistent player, and he's also a very sought after player. People want him, and I'm very sure the Nets are going to be very disappointed that they won't have for the rest of the season. Obviously, he made the choice that was best for him, and I believe that was the right choice to make. It was better for him and his family to retire at this point. But I think he's made a big enough impact with the Trailblazers, with the Spurs, and finally again with the Nets. I think he's made a big impact and kind of left his mark to say on the NBA. Obviously, when you can do something like that stat-wise, to be one of only 25 players to do it, you're going to be in great company name-wise. And so I think he gets there. Obviously, he was never like the flashiest player, or like, no dunk contest.
Come on, he was a Spurs player. What kind of Spurs player is flashy?
Exactly. He was a Spurs player with Tim Duncan. He's Mr. Fundamental.
Tim Duncan, the fundamental GOAT, okay?
Exactly.
Fundamentally, he's the GOAT.
Exactly. He definitely was. Fundamentally, he was. And when you learn from a guy like that, and then you continue to behave and play like that, you're going to be up there in that conversation for Hall of Fame. So I think he's done all he could have done to get his name up there, and now it's just time for whoever votes for NBA Hall of Famers to do the right thing.
And to quote legendary rapper Spose, I got the swagger of Tim Duncan. Yeah. Oh, if you guys know what that quote's from, and from that rapper, please let me know, because you are a part of a very select few, and I feel like not many people know what the hell I'm referencing. Jalen, do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You know the song?
I've heard that before.
You know the song?
Yeah. The swagger of Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I haven't heard that in so long.
Oh, I love that song. We'll have to play on the socials or something, and then get copyright strike for some reason. Obviously. Talking to whoever that MMA promotion was, those bastards.
Those bastards.
Something
We're not going to bring them up by their name.
Nah.
And we're never going to repost any of their content.
No, they don't get it.
We've unfollowed them on everything.
We never followed them in the first place, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Next question, Jalen. Kawhi Leonard is somehow been kind of weaseling. He's been getting back up there in the MVP talks. He's been down. He's been middle. He's been up. Of course, it's going to Joker, without a doubt. If it doesn't, we riot. But is Kawhi Leonard a top 3 candidate in the MVP race currently?
I don't know. don't think so. I feel like his down part of the season is going to cost him. This season is obviously shortened, not by much, 10 games, but with those 10 games gone, I think when it comes down to voting, people are going to pay attention to those slumps. And he did definitely have a slump. Obviously, they're still winning. They're still going to make playoffs. They're still probably going to do pretty decent in playoffs for the most part. But when you look at it, he's always played good, but he hasn't been playing like, you know what I'm saying, crazy out the gym MVP stuff. He's been doing what Kawhi does, but he hasn't been playing above that level. At first I thought LeBron was going to win it. LeBron's been out for now way too long. And at this point, I don't think he wins it because he's been gone too long. I thought Anthony Davis would be in the conversation. He's been out for a while. I think he's out the conversation now too. I think we might have a close race. Steph Curry has popped up this season. He was out earlier in the season, which I think was better for MVP odds. If you're out and then you come in and play and you make an impact, that's better. But if you start off the season hot and then you cool down, that shows and people were trying to figure out a little bit and they figured you out. So I think Curry's been hot this season. He just broke a record pretty recently. Ross, you have that stat written down?
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a moment here, Jalen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that in a moment. In a moment.
But yes, he just broke another Warriors record as he's continued to done. He's broken NBA records, Warriors records. So I think he's up there right now. Joker, as we've already said, is going to be up there. He's been dominating absolutely
everything. I'm pretty sure he's leading the Nuggets in pretty much almost every single stat line possible. I mean, obviously, he's probably like 2 or 3 in a couple of stats, but for the most part, he is leading in almost everything for that team, and he's continued to do great things. For 3, I don't know. I feel like 3 is going to be like a mix. Like I feel like is Embiid still up there?
Embiid, I don't know.
He's back
and he's been playing decently, but I don't think he's been playing MVP basketball since he's been back. He's definitely been great. He's been a good player, but like I said, those mid-season to late season injuries mess up your odds so much. Like if you start off the season out and then you pick it up, that's different. But when you lose that many games in the middle of the season, I don't know. I would definitely put him up. I would still keep him in the top 5. He's definitely top 5. I just don't know if he's 3 right now.
So
my top 2 right now would probably be Joker and Steph.
But De'Aaron Fox is taking this anyway, right?
Oh yeah, De'Aaron Fox. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is going to take it because of win-loss record. But honestly, I think he'll win Most Improved Player.
Well, no, he'll take it. The Kings are the best team in the league right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. In my heart, always
your heart
will be the best team, but never on the court. Off the court, they're always going to be.
And even when they are the best, they just get screwed over by the refs in the early 2000s against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Get dunked on, idiot. But speaking of California basketball teams, let's go to the Warriors. That was not one of the best transitions I've ever done. But hey, it is what it is. Let's go to the California basketball teams. Let's talk about the Oakland Warriors. If we want to throw it back to the time, maybe a Wilt Chamberlain. Now the Golden State Warriors. But Wilt Chamberlain, he's old, and he's old news as Steph Curry becomes the Warriors' brand new all-time leading scorer on Monday. Technically.
I feel like no matter how long basketball goes, Wilt Chamberlain will forever be.
He only scored 100 points, Jalen. That's not even that good. But Steph Curry Steph Curry, he put 53 against the Nuggets. The former record of 17,873 points as the Warriors set by Wilt Chamberlain has gone down, and Steph Curry is your all-new scoring leader for that franchise. So, is Steph Curry the greatest shooter of all time?
I feel like at this point, it's kind of hard to deny it.
Right.
I mean, obviously, there's going to be the recency bias of it's what we've seen in our lives.
Awesome, man.
Curry just shooting over people.
A guy that just can shoot from anywhere on the court. Like, I swear.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not an exaggeration. He'll pull up from half court and just easy, just.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, I mean, like older guys and stuff like that, are gonna argue against it. But I feel like you can't deny what he's done over the last couple seasons.
We still got people claiming the hook shot of Kareem is still the best scorer of all time.
Yeah, Kareem is probably one of the best scorers of all time, especially when you have to consider the stats from before. Why they are, people are going to argue maybe the basketball people aren't as big as athletes, but you also have to think people didn't shoot the ball. People were driving to the paint with no fouls.
You drive
scoring
and you
points.
get a layup. You drive,
Exactly.
go for the layup.
Wilt got those 101 points with layups and dunks.
That's
he
even
wasn't
more
shooting
impressive.
threes. That's very impressive. So I feel like they're always going to be in the conversation. But I feel like at this point, Steph is the best shooter of all time. There's no arguing against that. He's proved it time in and time out. He'll have a bad game, and then he'll be like, "Oh, my bad for that last bad game, guys. Here's 70 points." You know what I'm saying? So
it's stupid.
At this point, I feel like it's hard to say no. If he's not the best, he's definitely two. So, yeah. I think he's the best. I feel like there's no argument against it at this point. He's consistently shot as one of the best shooters in the league his entire time in the league. So.
Another thing that happened during that game, though, Jalen, was something that was definitely not on the good side, something like what Steph Curry did. This was more on that negative side, which wasn't very fun to watch, and that was Jamal Murray going down with a torn ACL against Golden State. So the Nuggets, they were fringe NBA Finals contenders for the majority of the season, especially led by the future MVP and Joker. But now, Jamal Murray, he was a huge part of that team. He goes down. Are they out of contention at this point, or can they still have a chance to do something in the playoffs, or is it all but over?
Did they say how long Jamal Murray's going to be out yet?
Indefinitely. Oh
wow.
That's a while.
I feel like with Joker, they're fine. They still have a good bench. They have good backups. I feel like they'll be fine. I feel like they're going to win still. But I definitely think that this puts a really big dent in their chances. I feel like a lot of guys are going to have to step up, and we don't know if they can yet. So right now, it's going to look really bad for them. But I definitely think they have the guys on their roster to make up for his score. I don't think I don't think they have like a single guy on their roster who's just going to take that mantle up.
Yeah.
But I think they definitely have some guys that could come off the bench and make up for that loss of points and leadership that Jamal Murray is no longer going to be able to bring for however long he's out.
Yeah. What sucks though, because this Mile High basketball team has been a lot of fun to watch over the season. I know I don't really have like a dog in the fight. You know, sometimes I guess I'll root for the Kings just because that's the team I kind of grew up with. So that's cool. You know, go Broncos. So maybe the Denver team. Maybe I'll root for them a little bit. But they've just been more fun than anything to watch, which is great. So this is definitely disappointing.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely always going to be disappointing when a star basketball player goes down. No one wants to see it. Players don't want to see it because NBA players don't. No one wants an asterisk, and that's their name, Astros. No one wants that. You don't want to win an NBA championship with all the team star players out. Like no one wants that. You don't want to say, hey, we beat the Nuggets, but they didn't have their star player. I mean, obviously they still have Joker, but. No one wants that. NBA players want the competition. They want the best to be out on the floor.
Unless you're the Nets, and then you just want everyone, and then to have no competition.
No, they don't want to see stars go down because they freaking trade for them all. All the stars are on their team.
Wait, hold up.
They're gonna have 15 All-Stars by the beginning of next season.
They only had 70 All-Star appearances combined between the two, or something stupid like that. So yeah, you know how I feel about that team. Exactly. Also, speaking of a team that I hate, let's talk about the New England Patriots.
All right.
There we go. Back to the good transitions. Yeah. Julian Edelman, he has finally retired after a failed physical earlier this week. Now the questions have been going around. First off, he had a fantastic career. I mean, a guy that played quarterback at like Kent State or something like that. A guy that wasn't a wide receiver, for him to be able to do what he did throughout his career, he was a great player. He was a fantastic player. He always showed up in the playoffs. Super Bowl MVP for a reason. He was also against the Falcons, so I don't know if that counts. But the question is, Jalen, is he Hall of Fame worthy? Julian Edelman. Okay, there we go. That's what I like to hear. But a finish as a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP. He has 6,822 yards and 36 touchdowns, both of those being tied in the 200s and nothing close to top leaders. Sometimes you do take into account their impact and what they had and their overall presence on the game. Especially you have to take his playoff performances into account with this one. But like you said, Jen, I'm just going to tell you right now that as long as Wes frickin' Welker is not a Hall of Famer, as long as Jordy Nelson is not a Hall of Famer, Julian Edelman is not and never should be a Hall of Famer. And there's a reason I said should be, Jalen, because even though he shouldn't be, knowing the NFL, also, to be fair, if Joe Namath could be a Hall of Famer, that's half the league could be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Julian Edelman, although he should never be in the halls of Canton, and he is a fantastic player, great player. He should be known as a fantastic player. Okay, there's between a great player and the Hall of Famer. Just because you're not a Hall of Famer doesn't mean you're a bad player. You got like kind of to separate those things right there. But I will say, Jalen, that Julian Edelman will eventually make it into the Hall of Fame, maybe as on his 4th or 5th ballot. It's going to happen eventually. It shouldn't happen, but it's going to.
Yep. Yeah, so I think that he'll probably make it at some point just because that's how the NFL Hall of Fame has worked. There's a couple of questionable Hall of Fame entries.
Joe Namath.
You know, just, yeah.
Trash. I will always say that's a hill I'm willing to die on, Jalen. Joe Namath is a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
Average at best.
Definitely have that conversation.
I'd rather Tim Tebow.
Another show.
Tim Tebow the GOAT.
I think Julian Edelman is a Hall of Fame receiver. I think he's definitely been a good playoff receiver. I think he's been a good player for the team. But you also have to look at the situation that he was in. He was in the right, pretty much a case of right place, right time. He made the Patriots in the time when Brady was there, in a great system under Belichick. And he became Tom Brady's best friend. He became his favorite target. And when you make the playoffs damn near every year and you make it that far, you're going to be second place in all-time receiving yards when you make the playoffs that many times. But my whole thing is, yes, he made it a lot, and he's going to be up there in the playoff records for a while. But you can't tell me if Megatron and Matthew Stafford made the playoffs that many times and Megatron wouldn't have that many yards.
Yeah.
You can't tell me if AJ Green made the playoffs that many times that he wouldn't have many yards or more, you know? So I think one of the main arguments for Hall of Fame players is what did they change in the game, which I don't think Julian Edelman really changed anything in the game, like per se.
He did some cool stuff, and he did some innovative stuff, but he didn't really make some good lasting change, you know?
Yeah, like I was talking to somebody earlier about the catch he made against the Falcons in the playoffs where he cut off that guy's leg. I was like, yeah, that was a great play, great heads-up play. I was like, but the chances of 9 times out of 10 that happening, Alfred at a certain point, he's moving his leg, you know, and that ball hits the ground harmlessly. It took somebody else's mistake for him to capitalize. Yeah. And I don't think he's made enough plays to where it was just like no one else could have done that. Or you know what I'm saying? Like there's not a lot of things he's done or seasons he's had to where I can honestly say I don't think anyone else could have done that in that situation, you know? Like Jerry Rice. He was very, very competitive for a very long time. Best hands. It's top of the records in almost everything. Hall of Famer. Megatron.
The best wide receiver of all time.
Megatron got double teamed off the line. I don't have to say anything else about that. He got double teamed off the line in the game.
Right.
That doesn't happen.
It looked like kickoff return coverage, straight up.
Yeah, kickoff, pretty much punt return coverage.
Like when you got two guys on the gunner. That's what it looked like.
Honestly, I think he probably would have still made that catch if he threw it towards him. I think he would have still made that catch.
Of course.
That's a Hall of Famer, you know?
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald is top in most stat line for receiver.
More tackles than drops.
More tackles than drops. If you look at his quarterback that he had his entire career, he has about the
besides
list
Kurt
of the
Warner.
Browns.
Besides Kurt Warner.
Yeah, besides Kurt Warner and Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer. People forget how good Carson Palmer was for a little bit.
Carson Palmer was MVP candidate
before he tore his ACL.
Yeah, so I definitely think that when you bring up names like that, like if I say Jerry Rice, Megatron, Larry Fitzgerald, Terrell Lowen, stuff like that, I think Hall of Famers. But I can't say that and then say Julian Edelman and not have people laugh at me. Like that is just not possible. Julian Edelman is a great receiver. If he doesn't go into the Patriots Ring of Honor, then I will be highly surprised. If he's not the Patriots Ring of Honor, I'll be surprised.
Yes.
If he's not like in some type of Hall of Fame in his hometown, I'll be surprised.
Yes.
But he is not an NFL Hall of Famer. I feel like that's a big thing that people leave out nowadays is Hall of Famer, yeah, you have to have a good career, but then also we have to compare you to who's already there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're nowhere near those, like I can say Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. Yeah, Jerry Rice is obviously better, but Terrell Owens wasn't that far off. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like you can't come. Like I can't say, hey, would you rather be Terrell Owens or Edelman? You want the skill of Terrell Owens. Now, one question I did see that I want to ask you, Ross, was a great question. I feel like a lot of people misinterpreted it. They said, would you rather have had the career of Julian Edelman or Megatron? And at first I was like, that's stupid, because obviously
I'm taking the career of Julian Edelman.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of people don't
No,
account
I'm
for,
taking...
would you rather win 3 Super Bowls?
Or would you rather be stuck in the worst sporting franchise in the history of North American sports, quite arguably, the Detroit Lions, the most losingest team in the 16-game era?
Yeah.
No, Julian Edelman all the way. It's not close for me. No.
Close.
No, it's...
I would love to, like, don't get me wrong. If you just said who would I rather have the ability
longevity,
I'm choosing Megatron.
Oh yeah, but Super Bowls, longevity, a nice beard. I gotta say,
he has a nice playoff beard.
He has a fantastic.
I agree with you.
It's a great beard. I can never do anything like that. Look,
I wish I could have.
It's not happening.
Nice beard.
So yeah, no, that is a great quote, Julian all the way. And then the next thing, Jalen, is let's bust out our handy dandy list of our top 10 draft prospects. And let's get rocking and rolling with this, because we're going to give you our breakdown of who we think is top 10. We're going to do a little bit of comparison with us. So, Jalen, as we go through our list, I believe, also, if you guys want to drop your top 10, whether it be in the YouTube comments, whether it be a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, let us see what you got, or on our Instagram and Twitter, at 4th Long Radio, at 4th Long Radio. So, we agree, Jalen, our draft prospects, at least the top one,
I feel like everyone's top one is going to be the same unless you're an idiot.
Unless you're an idiot, or unless you're trying to go for a hot take for the sake of a hot take, it's Trevor Lawrence, hands down.
Yeah, no, I definitely had a couple people look at my list and say you were doing that for views, and I definitely was not. I do have a couple of questionable moves in my top 10, but I definitely meant all of them.
Yeah. Number 2, for me, hands down, has to be one of the most important things. He's arguably more important than Trevor Lawrence's draft, and that is future, just outstanding, one of the best offensive linemen that's going to play in the NFL in his day. That's Oregon standout Penei Sewell. You need a cornerstone offensive lineman to play. I've been seeing people go, the Bengals should draft Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. Cool, Jamar Chase, great guy. He's my number 4, actually. But you can't really give him the ball if you're getting sacked every play.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I definitely, I agree. And Penei was definitely, he was my 3. I had Jamar Chase at 2. I don't think he should go 2. I think prospect-wise, I was just going off of ability and stuff like that.
No, that's what this is our draft. We'll get our mock drafts out next week as we get closer to draft. But this is just a prospect list.
Yes, I think Jamar Chase is just. We saw what Justin Jefferson did last year, and we've seen what top picked receivers have been able to do. And I think you can't miss on a guy like this. Obviously, we have a little bit to go off of since he didn't play last season to get ready for the draft. But what we have to look at is amazing film. And after seeing what Justin Jefferson did, and a lot of people think that that Jamar Chase is better than Justin Jefferson, you're hopping on this. Like you have to,
right?
And with 3 Penei, same thing. Like I have him at 3 instead of 2, but that is a man. You have to go and get that. If you want to protect your quarterback, you go and grab that. Joey, he needs somebody to protect him.
Help Joey.
Yeah. You need that. Like he just got injured because of a horrible offensive line last season.
Yeah.
He was under fire a lot. Didn't get to really sit there and be comfortable in his rookie season, which is very important. He was always under fire. You need this. You need a guy like that. Obviously, there's always a chance somebody busts, but off of what you have to go off of, if you pass up on this guy and he ends up being good, you're going to look like an idiot. So,
now one of the next things is number 3. It might surprise a little bit of people, but To me, he's the second best quarterback in this draft, and that's going to be BYU's Zach Wilson. I have him at my number 3 prospect. And I see him going number 2.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets are taking. The only question is who the Niners are going to take, but also, of course, if you listen to last week's NFL offseason breakdown, you'll have heard Alex and I explain that. It's the whole Mac Jones thing is a smokescreen. They're obviously taking Justin Fields. It's not close.
I honestly think that they're trying to avoid somebody trying to trade up in front of them and offering the Jets.
That's what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan do. They lie. That's what a good GM does.
Think that this is a smokescreen. I think they're like, even if we look a couple years back to the Cardinals, there's a bunch of smokescreen about there's a bunch of things about Nick Bosa is the real pick and stuff like this, and Quentin Williams was the real pick, and it was all just that's what they really wanted. It ended up being a smokescreen. They took Kyler again. They're like, there's no way they take another quarterback. They took Kyler, and it was smart.
It worked out. It worked out better than Josh Rosen. That's for sure. See, while I had Zach Wilson in 3, you have him at 6. Justin Fields above him.
In my 4th spot, I have Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is my 4.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is my 5.
Yes,
so
I think that Kyle Pitts, I would like him to put on a little bit more weight, with the NFL frame, which I think he will do. I think it just kind of naturally happens when you get to the NFL. You kind of realize you need just a little bit.
Also,
more
those strength coordinators are going to get you right.
Exactly. So I think he's going to get a little bit bigger, and I feel like right now that's the main thing people are looking at. Is like he does kind of look like a really big receiver. Mm-hmm. That's kind of right now. I think if he puts on a little bit more weight and kind of blocks a little bit more in the NFL, he's going to be like, he's already amazing at what he is. And now you're telling me he's going to be able to get put with a whole bunch of NFL trainers to get him right. That is going to be, I think that's once in a lifetime talent at tight end. Mm-hmm. And then if he decides, hey, I don't want to put on extra weight, he's fast and he's small enough to cut a little bit more weight and just be a big receiver. So I think one way or another, he's going to have a great career. Mm-hmm. So
we'll talk about him a little more in a second compared to Trevor Lawrence. Some of these other notable ones, Jalen, you have 3 Alabama players in your top 10 at 10, at 8, and at 7. So at 7 you have Jalen Waddle, 8 you have Devonta Smith, and at 10 you have Najee Harris. So Alabama is representing very nicely for you. I got Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle in mind, but Smith, he's at the 6th spot. And Jalen Waddle's at the 10 for me. I got Smith. Smith over Waddle. I think they're both so close in terms of talent level.
Yes,
but I don't know. It's the eye test. It's the Heisman Trophy that's going to do it for me. It's a small frame that could only get bigger in the NFL and only get better. So I'm a little.
I went off of, for me, for that. The reason I put Jalen Waddle slightly above Devontae Smith, other than the first name, right? I just think immediate impact. I think whoever drafts Devontae Smith is gonna try to put him outside, and I think that's going to not work as well. I think he's gonna have.
Man, imagine if you're able to keep him on the inside.
Yeah, I think people are going to try to put him on the outside, and I think Jalen Waddle is going to be put with a team that's going to put him on the inside.
Ravens
of the slot.
Straight
He's
up
a known slot. And I think that he is going to go. I think he's going to be great. I feel like that's the reason I put him one spot above. It's just because I think on how teams are going to use them. I think Devonta is going to be a guy who they're just like, hey, let's try you outside. That's not going to work. Okay, let's put you here. I think.
Hey, Lamar Jackson, let's play running back.
Exactly, But that's the only reason I have Waddle in front. I think skill wise they're pretty close. I think I would give Devonta the just overall eye test look winner. But just Waddle, I think he's going to get put into the better situation to have an impact first, which is why I had him above on my prospects list.
Then we also, just a last notable one is that I have it 7 Trey Lance or 8 Trey Lance. You got him at number 9. I think Trey Lance is going to be a really good NFL quarterback. He's not as NFL ready as maybe some other guys. I think like a guy like Zach Wilson, a little more NFL ready, but the ceiling on Trey Lance is it's high. It's up there. It's up there.
He has a skill set for it.
Yeah. And that, man, if you just give him a couple years to develop, don't Tua Tagovailoa with this. Actually, give him some time to work and don't try to rush him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, maybe he'll actually. That's almost like a way to make good quarterback Jalen crazy or something. They give players time to develop.
I know, right? If you let somebody develop, they might actually develop.
Oh, blasphemous, Jalen. We can't go around saying that in today's NFL, okay? But stay on the list of draft prospects. So, one of the questions I saw posed this week, and I thought it was a very interesting one, is
why is Mac Jones not number one?
No, that was not the question. The real question is, who is the more guaranteed pick? Who has the highest chance of success in the NFL between Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Pitts? And for this one, I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts. And so did a lot of you over on the socials when I put this question out, because Trevor Lawrence, he's a star. He's a stud. Mm-hmm. But a quarterback is a way more nuanced position than a tight end is. And Kyle Pitts is so good that he could have Mike Glennon is his quarterback. Get the ball within like 10 yards of him, and he'll be able to go make that play. Trevor Lawrence, you need he's going to put a ball on the rope. He's going to put in these tight windows. But at the same time, you have to have wide receivers that won't drop the ball, and you have to have the offensive line that will block for you. Kyle Pitts, he doesn't. There's not as many factors that go into success as a tight end as they do into the quarterback position. I think we all agree on that. And both these guys are Trevor Lawrence, the best quarterback, is the best player at his position. Kyle Pitts, the best player at his position. Trevor Lawrence is the Kyle Pitts of quarterbacks, and Kyle Pitts is the Trevor Lawrence of tight ends, if you want to go along with that. So they're right there with each other in terms of skill. Since it tastes like factors to be good for a tight end, that means Kyle Pitts, he has a higher chance of success in the NFL.
Yeah, I also went with Kyle Pitts for this one. Just because, like I said, we saw Burrows last season, who didn't have an offensive line. Mm-hmm. It didn't have as good as receivers as you would hope for. Obviously, the receivers weren't bad, but he didn't have time to get the ball. Not great. Yeah, and if it wasn't Burrow, the guy would be replaced next year. If it wasn't Burrow, he'd be replaced off of his performance from last season. Obviously, we know the situation. We know what Burrows is capable of. So he's going to get another season, a couple of seasons to prove himself. And obviously he got hurt.
Of course.
I think with Kyle Pitts, we see plenty of tight ends with bad quarterbacks who are great. We see that a lot. And like I said earlier, he is at that size and has that frame to where if he says, hey, man, I really don't want to block. I really don't want to be in there as a tight end. He can lose the weight and just be a really big receiver. He's still fast. He's still agile. He could do it if he wanted.
Well, he only ran like in below 4.4, just like 90% of the draft class. He got offensive linemen running at 4.3, something like.
Yeah, that is one topic we'll probably have to talk about. I think a lot of tests this year were a little bit fraudulent.
It's just a hand timer, Chan. The hand timer you mean? Oh! Now he passed.
I was really hoping for someone to go like this and just be sitting there watching it, and like the dude's moving really slow and goes 4.22. It's like a 2-minute video. That's what I was hoping to see this year.
I'll crawl for a 4.5.
Yeah, but I think his versatility that he can have as a player, being able to catch the ball, getting better in the blocking. I don't think he's a bad blocker now, but getting better as a blocker, getting bigger.
In the
stronger.
SEC, you have to be a good blocker as a tight end.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just it's harder to bust as a tight end than it is as a quarterback.
Exactly.
As a tight end, you have some time. If your quarterback's not a very tight end happy tight end, a tight end happy passer, then you might not look as good. But people are still going to give you a chance. They're just going to be like, hey, your quarterback's not a tight end happy passer. That's why you didn't have a good season. If a quarterback has a bad season, there's just no one's going to – they're just going to be like, you had a bad season. There's no way around it. So I definitely think the more sure pick here is definitely going to be Kyle Pitts.
And the last question for the NFL topic of this episode is, I saw this question being passed around ever since the Browns signed Jadeveon Clowney on Wednesday, which of course is $8 million, can be up to $10 million. I think it's a bad contract for Jadeveon Clowney because he's been nowhere near living up to the hype that he had out of college. You could almost literally call him a one-hit wonder with that hit he had against Michigan. which is, of course, one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
That was one of the weirdest
Ball
things
don't
I've
lie.
ever seen.
But the people are asking the question of who has the better pass rush, whether it's the Bucks or it's the Browns. And if you're actually really like asking this question, like really posing it, and you're not just saying immediately it's the Bucks who have the best pass rush in the league and it's not close, I think there's something wrong with you mentally when you have, Levante David getting 9 sacks, when Jason Pierre-Paul getting 9.5 sacks, when you have Shaquille Barrett, who's still the most underrated player in the NFL, even with what he did last year, and even with the bit of recognition he finally got, and with a little bit of money he finally got paid. No, I mean, the Browns, you get Myles Garrett, who's really good at hitting quarterbacks in the head, and then you have Jadeveon Clowney, who can hardly even play a full season. I don't know why people are actually asking this.
Yeah. I don't
also,
know.
two caveat. I did say people are asking this. Twitter is filled. It was Twitter asking this, and Twitter. It's like a collective pool of about 100 brain cells between the billion people on there.
So. Including ours.
No, yeah, I'm taking about three of those.
Yeah, I'm probably like 2.5.
That's being very generous, Jalen.
Yeah, very generous. I think it's obviously the Bucks. I feel like the Bucks have more weapons. One thing I will say is I feel like people aren't giving the Browns pass rush enough credit. I feel like they're close, but they're not the best. I definitely think the Bucks have taken that. I just think that in my mind, if Clowney can have another good season, which we know he has the ability to do, that with Myles Garrett performing how he almost always has, I feel like that's a great pass rush, and it's hard to handle. But I feel like it's kind of similar to a lot of other situations where you guys have a very talented guy already there, and you assign somebody who's known to be good but hasn't really shown it in a minute, and then that's like half the NFL right now. You assign somebody who was good for someone else, but you don't know if they're going to be good, and then you have a 50-50 shot of them being good. And this situation just happens to be two former first pick players, pass rushers. I think it has a higher chance of being successful than a couple of other past situations that we've seen in the NFL. But I definitely don't think this automatically puts them first. I think they don't have enough weapons in that pass rush other than those two to be considered the best pass rush.
Now, don't get me wrong. One of the better pass rushing teams, but no one's competing with the Bucks right now. And I don't know if they were joking. I don't know if being serious. We never know. Once again, it's Twitter, so you never know if they're actually joking or serious. But I did see people saying like, that the Browns are better than the Rams now, and it's just like, no, that's not accurate. Not accurate.
No.
At all.
I mean, Aaron Donald has recently proved that he's a very dominant person on and off the field. So
he'd probably send the dude flying, man. That guy's just. I don't know how this guy's filing a lawsuit if he's still in the orbit of Earth. I mean,
that I don't know who squares up with Aaron Donald.
No,
that doesn't make sense.
That's like trying to fight Mike Tyson. You don't do that.
I mean, like, honestly, like, we're making jokes about it, but like, honestly, if Aaron Donald really just walked up and punched the guy and then whatever,
he dead.
Then yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised he lived.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously he hit him, but like, if the guy wasn't like asking for it, and the guy was just honestly just being there, not doing anything. If the guy incited it, then like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, like, you don't do that. Like, I don't care. Aaron Donald can't fight. He's strong as hell. If he lands a punch, it's gonna hurt.
I think Aaron Donald can fight, though, is the thing.
That's the thing, is he can.
we see him get to all sorts of scuffles on the field.
He trains with knives in the off season. Do you not know this? Do you think he's afraid of you in the club?
Right? No.
That's not smart.
That's all you need to say. That's 100% all you need to say. But to kind of cap things off, let's go to our baseball little questions that we got for you, Jalen. One of the first ones being, we're 2 weeks into the MLB season about. No, actually, the day of recording, which is Thursday, we are 2 days or 2 weeks into the MLB season. So, what has been the biggest surprise for you this season? And for me, I have to go through. It's been 2 weeks. We've already gone 2 no-hitters, which is insane. I mean, we almost got a perfect game with Carlos Rodon because in the 9th inning, he hit a batter in the foot. So, tragic. but we were that close. Then another one being Joe Musgrove, San Diego native. He goes joins the Padres and he gets the team's very first no-hitter in their history. So that was fantastic to see. It's been weird seeing the Red Sox being one of the best teams in baseball with an 8-game winning streak. I was expecting them to be better than what they were last year because last year was just abysmal. But I wasn't expecting anything like this. And also the Orioles being one of the better teams through like the first week of baseball. Being number 5 on my power rankings, which you go see on Twitter and Instagram. I wasn't expect the Orioles to be one of the better teams. I know it's only a week in, but still. It's the Orioles.
Yeah, it's the Orioles, so no one's ever gonna be like, "Hey, who you got this season?" Oh, the Orioles.
Not even Orioles, not even the crazy Orioles fans say stuff like that. We all know there's teams that have like those diehard fans that are, oh yeah, we're always contenders, but not even Orioles fans are gonna say that. Like, no, we suck.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying. My biggest surprise so far this season, non-surprisingly, is the domination.
Shut up! Don't say it.
The Giants.
Don't say. Oh, you said it.
The Giants are currently 8-4. They've only lost 1 at home so far and 3 on the road. They have 3 series wins so far. So
or we can just talk about the roles. Okay, so Jalen, here I want to throw something else. There's been 2 teams this season that have not lost a series. Okay, name those 2 teams.
The Dodgers and the Red Sox?
No. They got swept by the Orioles. The second team,
get swept by the
other team that has not lost a series is the Kansas City Royals. What is the world we're living in where the Royals are competing with the Dodgers, technically speaking?
Yeah, that is. Oh my goodness.
What, we still in 2020? We still in 2020?
I mean, the Royals are only 6-4, but they haven't lost a series. That's crazy.
Yeah, they haven't lost a series.
That is absolutely crazy.
Oh, you go, Royals fans.
And let's talk about another thing. The Mets are currently the top of the NL East. This season is wild. And like when you hear this, originally you're gonna be like, "Oh, it's a quarantine season." It's not. This is gonna be a full season. This stuff is happening. Ain't
no Mickey Mouse World Series this year. It's a real deal.
People are playing at their actual stadiums
with fans.
Some people actually have fans,
right?
Like, you know what I'm saying? This is actual what's happening. Like this isn't like
nothing
weird about the season. Like we haven't lost a bunch of games to COVID or anything yet. So
not too many, at least, unless you're the Nationals or something.
Yeah, we lost a couple, but like there haven't been games to where a team doesn't have their whole starting lineup.
No.
Because
this is real baseball. It's fantastic.
This is real baseball.
Oh, this is fantastic. This is one hell of a season so far.
That's one thing. I feel like a lot of people don't want this, but like my thing for football and baseball and basketball and all the hockey and all the other top sports is I like seeing new teams up there every single year. Obviously,
shut up, Jalen. Shut up. You're just a Golden Knights fan. We can't talk about that.
Man,
no, shut up about the new teams. Who cares? Stupid
new
Golden
teams.
Knights. Like, I hate the figures.
Teams.
No, shh.
New teams.
Bad, Jalen. I swear, I'm gonna cut your pay. I'm gonna cut your pay.
From 0 to 0.
Yes.
Actually, we're not even 0. We're negative.
All right, I'm gonna cut even more. But one of the other things.
You're gonna make me buy another?
Yes, but one of the other guys that's been extremely surprising, a guy that started like I think 7 for 7 or 8 for 8, something insane with the White Sox. And as of Tuesday, he was batting .500 on the season, and that none other than the White Sox, Yerman Mercedes. This dude is I don't really know what's going on right now because he's still batting .500. He has 19 hits in 38 at bats. I mean, 3 home runs on the season. What? I know, 2 weeks in and he's still batting .500.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I don't know. This is weird. Like this is stuff that you would expect last season when everyone was like playing in the same cities and Mickey Mouse Bowl and all that.
Mickey Mouse Bowl.
That's when you expect this stuff. But someone batting .500 in a regular season up to this point, 2 weeks. Like, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for 2 weeks to be batting over 500, like usually people are back down around like the low 400s to high 300s. You know, if you're just doing exceptionally well to start the season off, but 500 every other at bat you're getting a hit. That is something, and I hope he. I want to see if he can keep this up. I want to see him have the longest streak of being over 400. How many ever games that is, I don't know what it is right now, but I would love to see something like that happen.
Dude, that'd be insane. Down on the NL side, who other than, well, if you to quote a heckler of none other than the most lovable person in the game of Bryce Harper, to quote one of his hecklers, the NL current early favorite for the NL MVP has to be Ronald Acuna. That clip hurt to listen to. Acuna. Yeah. Come on, how are you gonna be a fan of your team and not know how to pronounce a guy's name? Yeah. That's like going back a bunch of years ago. You remember Yoenis Cespedes? Someone calling, it's Yoenis Cespedes. What you know about Yoenis Cespedes, Jalen?
I don't know who Yoenis Cespedes is.
Exactly. There's no Yoenis Cespedes. Yoenis Cespedes, forgotten talent because he is fantastic. But Ronald Acuna has been doing some crazy stuff. Right now, currently, he sits as the MLB's home run leader with 6. He has a slugging percentage of 1,000, OPS of 1.5. He has a batting average of .447 on base percentage of 500. He is leading the league in doubles with 6, leading the league in hits with 21, and leading the league in runs with 15. Animal. This guy, we all knew he was going to be this good, but honestly, I have to bet that he's going to be the NL MVP this year, and
either him or Buster Posey, but like
no, Buster Posey. He used to be good, and then his knee got eviscerated, and then he changed the rules as a catcher, and then he made the league suck. So I don't like Buster Posey.
I don't think that was his fault, and I think they needed to take it out.
He should have just had a stronger knee, Jalen. I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like that was...
Drink your milk, eat your vitamins, eat your green vegetables. Shoot. No.
In my opinion, being able to hit the catcher was like one of the most like random... Like that was like the one of the most random rules in baseball. Like it was great, but like I feel like it just didn't fit baseball. Like it's like you run base, and then if you're going home, you can truck a guy. You see the catcher catch the ball, fuck him up, Like I feel like someone when they were writing the rules, like the guy was just like progressively someone in his house was irritating him, and he got to that rule, and that was just like when he hit the last straw, and he was like, just run him the fuck over, kill him. I don't care.
That's what I love the rule though. It's great. It's great. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was out of place in the sport. It's like a whole bunch of don't touch the other team unless you're tagging them out to run him down. So yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like that rule.
Yeah, that I could understand that one. And then one of the last questions I would like to ask you, Jalen, is that one of the greatest duo in the greatest tandem, the NBA has all these great duos, and that's when the NBA is best. It's not these dynasty teams. It's teams that have 2 really good players and spread out throughout the league. And that's what the Los Angeles Angels have right now in greatest player of all time, Mike Trout. And are we actually seeing one of the other greater players of all time, at least one of the greater two-way players of all time already, in Shohei Ohtani, because he's doing things that I don't think are possible between in the same inning, Jalen, being a starting pitcher and batting second on your team's lineup. In the same inning, you hit a home run at 115 miles an hour, and then you hit a 101 mile an hour fastball. Who does that? Who does that besides Shohei Ohtani? And who else is going to run out in? So not only can this guy hit bombs, not only can he throw gas, but this guy can also beat out infield singles. So he's fast, he's strong, he's extremely great, and I don't know what this man cannot do. Right now, he is having a fantastic season so far. He has 16 hits, 4 home runs. He has a batting average of 340. And then also with his pitching, he has a sub-2 ERA right now. And he's throwing junk. So with Shohei Ohtani, to get my question, Jalen, Is he an AL MVP candidate, or should he be the favorite right now?
I feel like it's hard to be the favorite with what he's
with your Mercedes.
Yeah, that Mercedes.
But Shohei very easily could be.
He's
up
there.
Yeah,
he's definitely 2.
I think he's 2. I think he's 2.
I think we'll put him 2.
At least
2. I think, like, honestly, what he's doing right now is very like video game esque. Like,
right.
This is like you turn all the sliders up and you're like, I want to play pitcher and I want to hit. You know. Or like the LSU pitcher a couple years ago, he was like, "Hey, your coach is like, hey, can you hit?" And he was like, "Yeah, I hit bombs in high school," and he had never hit a day in his life. This is just it's a video game. Like, you don't see this happening. Like, it's very few times that you see a player change a video game. In the new MLB show is coming out, probably I think around like tomorrow, or about the time of recording. Mm-hmm. You can now create a player who can pitch and hit well. Like, they changed a whole prototype in a game because they're like, yo, we can't, it's going to be unrealistic if you can't do this.
Right.
He's doing it.
It used to be unrealistic to be able to do it, and now it's unrealistic to not be able to do it.
We can't put that in the game because that's cheap, because no one can do that. And then he came in and he was like, bet. And he's doing it.
What's the Japanese word for bet?
I don't know. I'll look that up while you're talking.
We're going to look that up, man. But Shohei Ohtani, and this is exactly what the MLB needs, though. It really is, because the MLB is to a lot of people, it's boring. It's under advertised, I would say. So what the MLB really needs to do is, in teams, you have players, Jalen, in the NFL. You have players in the NBA. You have players even in the NHL. Like Connor McDavid and Ovechkin and stuff like that. People know who the hell they are, even if they're not fans of the sport. I've been seeing too often that in the MLB, not even fans that aren't fans of the MLB, some of them don't even know who Mike Trout is. A lot of them don't know who Shohei Ohtani is, and these are two transcendent athletes that everyone should know the names of. So the MLB has to do a better job at really advertising these guys, because they have a guy in Shohei Ohtani that's going to be better than Ichiro Suzuki. You can book that right now. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but he is going to be better than Ichiro. And I know that's a very tall task.
Word for bet is Beto. So
it's just Beto. Oh, that's weak. Yeah. That's boring. We could just pronounce that.
I was really hoping I could have guessed that.
Right?
That happens a lot in the Japanese language.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, also my favorite Japanese word, Jalen, is McDonald's. For those that would like to learn, the way to say McDonald's in Japanese is Makudonuda, and that's not even racist. That's not even racist. Jalen, we were in the same Japanese class in high school.
Yes, we were.
That's
we
fact.
Japanese, and that is actually you say. It's funny sometimes because like literally like
a lot of Japanese words. A lot of Japanese words. The way like say some English words Japanese. Here's a little tangent before I wrap things up. Speaking Japanese, you say the word you say the English word with a Japanese accent.
Pretty much, yeah. Honestly, like that's honestly how it works. Like there's a lot of times that we'll be going over vocabulary. There's a whole bunch of difficult words, and then it's like, okay, hamburger. Hamburger. Like that's
okay.
And you're like, you're playing with me, right? Like that's not
cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
it makes me hey, so all you guys, you can speak Japanese just by speaking the Japanese accent.
And then a lot of other words, if it's just the English word and then you add oo or to to the end of it.
A lot of oos, you just add a lot of use. Hey, but Japanese with Frost and Jalen, the two people that you would not expect to know any Japanese.
Yeah, we both took like 4 years of it.
And one actually studied in Japan. So
he went to Japan. I did not go to Japan.
And side note, speaking of Ichiro is a god in Japan. But that would be after that Japanese lesson for you guys. That's going to do it for us on episode 57 of the episode shows.
And don't forget, happy day, Jackie Robinson Day, happy 42 Day.
I was going to say, because today I want to cap with baseball, because extremely important day in the history of baseball and in the history of sports and in just American and world history in general, Jalen. One of the most important days in history. 74 years ago today, on April 15th, Jackie Robinson became the first African-American player to play in the MLB. and things have just gotten better ever since then. And it's always like I love this day in baseball because we just see everyone with 42. And when I was a kid, I had no idea what the hell this meant, and I was like, "Oh, why the hell the same number? That's stupid." And now it's now the meaning and significance.
Like, 42 is doing good today, and I was like, "Wait, that's 42. Why is he 42?"
Wait, but they, man, but just what?
If you want to spend a fortune, they'll go on Fanatics and buy a $400 jersey.
Or you can go to patreon.com/4thandlong, and for just $1 a month, you become a very prestigious member of our Patreon group. And Jalen, that's so perfect because that's exactly what I was going to go into for our outro. A few different tiers: $1, $5, and $10. Each of them gets you a bunch of really good stuff. So just go over to, like I said, patreon.com/4thandlong to see all the benefits of each tier today. And I would like to thank our Patreon supporters. The first one being Ray Rodriguez. And for all your card collecting needs, go follow at the Big Back Box on Instagram. And speaking of Ray Rodriguez, he told me the next time we talk about baseball on the show, I haven't been able to do that because either we've been talking Australian football, which has been fantastic. So you can go check that out, Jalen. And of course, your Western Bulldogs are doing phenomenal. So screw you, you lucky bastard. So go check that stuff out. We have our weekly UFC talks. Just released UFC Talk 40 back on Tuesday. Some really good stuff on that one with our UFC correspondent Blake Campbell. Then we also do weekly NFL ones, but if we haven't been able to get a baseball one in the couple weeks that the season starts. So, Ray, thank you for the fantastic early birthday gift of my Oakland A's jersey with, you can't see the back, because I'm too lazy to stand up and turn around. That's just too much effort.
You don't have a spinny chair?
I do not have a spinny chair. I am broke.
I have a spinny chair.
I know. I'm going to get my spinny chair soon. But Matt Chapman, number 26 on this, is on the back. Or number 42 for on April 15th. So,
and thank you for ruining my gift, Ray.
Hey, let's go, Ray! Woo!
I was going to get him an A's jersey.
Add the kid. That's what I like to hear. Next one, shout out to Neil Wiley and his YouTube channel, Chosen Problems. And a big thank you, last but not least, to Ryan Watson. Jalen, 2 weeks into the MLB season, in one word or phrase, how would you describe it?
Awesome.
Just like this show. Best one on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen.
And if you do happen to send us $400, I'll make you a jersey my damn self. Don't go to
if you want to spend $400, just go to fourthandlong.com/apparel and get some great merchandise today. Ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you in the next one.